It's time now for A Week in France, our weekly look at the most significant stories to come out of the country over the past 7 days. And we begin with France ramping up its crackdown on what it sees as rogue actors in the world of social media. This past week, the Paris prosecutors' cybercrime unit raided the offices of X, formerly known as Twitter. It's part of an investigation into a range of alleged offences, including spreading deepfakes and child pornography. Elon Musk and the company's CEO have been called for voluntary interviews on the 20th of April. Delano de Souza has this report.
A post by the Paris prosecutor's office announcing a raid on X while adding it was leaving the platform. The probe initially launched in January 2025 following reports by a French lawmaker into alleged abuse of algorithms and fraudulent data extraction was later expanded to include complaints over X's chatbot Grok. Prosecutors are investigating if there was complicity in the possession and spreading of pornographic images of minors. X is owned by Tesla founder Elon Musk, and he, along with the company's former chief executive, have been summoned to a voluntary hearing in Paris on April 20th. The UK's privacy watchdog has also launched an investigation into Grok, days after the EU said it was probing the generation of sexualized deepfake images of minors and girls. Tuesday's raid in Paris is likely to strain ties between the US and Europe. Washington had threatened to retaliate against the enforcement of the bloc's tech rules, which American officials allege curb free speech. As news broke of the raid on X's office in Paris, the founder of messaging app Telegram weighed in. Pavel Durov, who has also been in the crosshairs of French authorities due to an ongoing investigation related to the activity of criminals on his app, took to social media alleging France is the only country in the world to criminally prosecute all social networks.
Well, for more on this story, we can bring in Jean Catan, co-director of the Future of Technology Institute. Thank you very much for joining us on France 24 today. So we've just seen a raid on X's offices this week on the orders of the Paris prosecutor's office. What do you think is behind France's decision to go after social networks in this way?
The intent is quite clear. It's only to apply criminal law. It's nothing else, nothing more. And it's an independent decision that was taken by the prosecutor office in France. And it's not at all a political decision or a political attack, as Elon Musk could state on its network. I think we have to be clear on that. It was the same for Pavel Durov. And the executive politics have nothing to do with all that.
Now, you mentioned him just now. Elon Musk, of course, is famously known for being rather prickly about any sort of judicial oversight, be that at home in the US or abroad. How is he likely to react to this French investigation, do you think?
I think he will comply. Actually, they comply. When we are strong, they comply. It's when we are scared that they feel like they can do anything. But when we are clear, when we are strong, they comply. So I see here an opening for a very strong policy from France to apply strictly criminal law, especially when it concerns pedocriminal content. We have to be strong and quite intolerant with the platform on this issue. And I think here, this case could be the kickoff for a very clear policy from France and Europe and all over the world to state that we will not admit any kind of content that is related to pedopornography or any other criminal aspect of this kind of activities.
Now, you mentioned there France and Europe. How does France's response to these social media platforms compare to other countries within Europe?
I think that it is sad that we can't conduct these actions all together. And sometimes you have to have some teams. It's not even about countries, it's about teams. We have a special unit at the prosecutor's office, which is quite good, actually. And it's a luck. And it's not about a country in itself. It's about a team of people who are quite competent and who are quite involved in this case. And this is crucial to understand. And then we hope that many other countries will lead and collaborate with us and with the platform also to solve the problem. Because again, when we apply the law strictly and when things are clear, the platforms obey.
Now, you mentioned him a little earlier. Telegram's founder has criticised France for, quote, oppressing social networks. Pavel Durov was, of course, himself arrested and detained in France in August 2024 over alleged moderation lapses on his messaging app. For him, this is a question of freedom of expression. Do you think there's anything to that? Does France risk impinging on citizens' right to freedom of expression with these crackdowns?
No. These cases have nothing to do with freedom of speech. In the Pavel Durov case, it was all about mere and very simple criminal law. You can't organize terrorist activities on the social networks or anywhere else. And the fact is that you can't publish pedopornographic content anywhere on any media. So this is very clear. It's not about freedom of speech. It's about applying simple and very clear criminal law. And then we will discuss about how we can build more freedom of speech on these platforms. And this is about algorithm, this is about moderation, but this has nothing to do with the criminal cases at stake here.
Now, the French approach, I think it's fair to say, is markedly different from the way the US is choosing to police, or not, as the case may be, social networks. What does this divergence mean, in your opinion, for the evolution of social media more widely?
I think that we are giving weapons to the judges in the US also, because many judges may be interested in taking actions against these networks on the ground of criminal law. I think it's something that could be used by some jurisdiction also in the US. And we have to distinguish what's happening in courts and what is happening in governments. And we have seen many very interesting cases in the US. We have to remember that a few years ago, the US conducted many investigations and crucial investigations for the rest of the world from the parliament. The Judicial Committee of the US Parliament led some very strong accusation against Amazon and other big tech companies. And thanks to their investigatory powers, we could have material that we could use in Europe. So we have to think in terms of collaboration and not listen too much to the people who want just to spread fake news all over the world to destroy democracy. This is very important to understand. It's about cooperation between serious people trying to do their work, whilst we have some leaders who are trying to create a kind of chaos all over the world.
Jean Catin, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Jean Catin, co-director of the Future of Technology Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On Tuesday, French state prosecutors asked appeal court judges to maintain a 5-year election ban on the far-right leader Marine Le Pen. This after the leader of the National Rally Party was found guilty of embezzling European Parliament funds in a fake job scandal. If the judges decide to grant the request, Le Pen would likely not be able to run in France's 2027 presidential election, but nothing is decided yet. This report from our colleagues at France 2.
The outcome remains uncertain for Marine Le Pen. She leaves the courthouse without saying a word. The prosecution is seeking a 4-year prison sentence, including 1 year that can be served under house arrest with an electronic tag, a €100,000 fine and a 5-year ban on standing for election, but no provisional enforcement. This is in stark contrast to the first instance ruling. It's impossible to say whether Le Pen will be able to run for president. Her lawyer wants to focus on the positive.
It was said that the defence tactic was no longer criminalisation and a risk of reoffending for the clients. I can tell you that as a lawyer, this is very good news.
The European Parliament's lawyer delivered his indictment.
We fully agree with the Public Prosecutor's Office, which used very harsh words, namely that this system was set up without scruples, involving large sums of money. That is what we said. That is what we expected.
The prosecutors are convinced that Jean-Marie Le Pen and then Marine Le Pen played a central role in using European parliamentary money to pay their parliamentary assistants, saying the hearing revealed a fraudulent organisation set up to finance the FN and a system designed to embezzle public funds. This system, also denounced by the European Parliament's lawyer, sought to dismantle all the defence's arguments, even resorting to irony.
It's a bit like jam theory. I put my hand in the jam, but no one told me it was jam.
The indictment also denounced the virulent attacks that the National Rally had levelled against the justice system in the aftermath of the convictions in the first instance.
It's a political decision.
The defence will plead their case until February 12. The Court of Appeal's decision will not be handed down before summer. Until then, Marine Le Pen's political future remains uncertain.
And finally, it's a question gripping France. What is going to happen to former French culture minister Jacques Lang? The current president of the Arab World Institute appears numerous times in the so-called Epstein files, as does his daughter Caroline Lang, both now under investigation by the Financial Prosecutor's Office for aggravated tax fraud and money laundering. Daniel Quinlan has the report.
The matter is now taking a legal turn in France. At issue are Jack and Caroline Lang's alleged financial ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The French Financial Prosecutor's Office has opened a preliminary investigation into tax fraud and money laundering. Jack Lang's daughter founded an offshore company in 2016 with the sex offender and appears in his will.
I learned of the abominable crimes. I was shocked. As you can imagine, I never received a penny from him.
Jack Lang is under pressure from all sides to resign from his position as president of the Arab World Institute. He's been summoned by the Foreign Office to explain himself Sunday, which the minister says is justified.
My priority is obviously to ensure the smooth running, continuity, and integrity of the Arab World Institute. I reserve all options regarding the continuation of his mandate.
Jack Lang, 86, has been president of the Institute since 2013. In total, his name has been mentioned nearly 700 times in the Epstein files.